This episode of the Free Lunch Podcast is brought to you by the Selma Project, an initiative created to infuse hope and inspiration into the youth of Selma, Alabama through culture, art, and entertainment. This initiative calls on friends of the Selma movement to use their gifts and talents to pave a road to success for future generations. Check them out, selmaproject.com, and brought to you by faithful listeners everywhere. And now to the show. Welcome to the New South Movement.
Ladies and gentlemen, a classic.
This love. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Yeah, I chose the path chose me. It's a Lord's plan, divine decree. Natural high, window sheet, up a parallel view, let the ghetto see. BK, NOLA, OMF, GLD, Amazing Grace.
Welcome to the Free Lunch Podcast, home of the New South Movement. This is your boy Tight, and I got BG with us. BG, how are you today, sir?
24/7, 365. Ever not working? Yes, indeed. It's me, your boy BG, and I'm charged up, bruh. How you feel?
I'm doing good. You said 365 and not 364? Because most people take that Christmas holiday off.
Never. We always find something to do, even on the holiday.
So you constantly working, constantly grinding. What you been working on here more recently?
We put all this energy into this second half of 2015 for the Free Lunch Podcast. Got some new dope stuff coming up. So we putting all that energy and all that enthusiasm into this Free Lunch Podcast movement. So you know what it is.
Okay. So we got another special guest for the Free Lunch Podcast listeners.
Yes, we do.
Really in this kind of climate of policing, and this climate of just the back and forth between urban America and the police in general. What we really wanted to do is bring a police officer onto the show that can really give us a perspective that we may not have thought of, and give us some insight into how we should really respond if we are pulled over by a police officer. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest, Jared Simpson, police officer in the Homewood community. Really has some insight that he can share with us. So how are you doing today, Jared?
I'm pretty good. How about y'all doing?
Doing well. Appreciate you on short notice, willing to kind of participate in this dialogue, in this conversation. And I know you got to get up early in the morning, so we'll try not to keep you up too late. If we're running past your bedtime, feel free to just say, hey guys, I gotta go, because we understand you got a long day tomorrow.
I will do.
So really just wanted to get into it. It's kind of ironic, especially considering we're BG. We are 1 year away from the Ferguson kind of shooting with Mike Brown, and been watching CNN today and looking at some of the coverage of what happened last night. You got the Christian Taylor situation, which is another story within itself. BG, you and I kind of texted on that earlier. But then you had the incidents in Homewood. You had incidents in with Eric Garner. You have incidents with in Cincinnati with Dubose. And so the climate and the culture really with unarmed black men. I think the Washington Post did a study that showed 24 unarmed black men have been killed just this year by police officers, the guys in blue, and really felt like that would be a topic that would really be interesting for today's audience and for the Free Lunch Podcast family. So BG, what are your thoughts just on the current climate and culture?
And your intro kind of summed it up, because we were having so many instances of these encounters with the police and civilians, and many of them ended up being fatal due to the police having to use a certain degree of force. And so as we've seen these numerous events we're naturally forced to ask the question of like what's really going on. And it's always interesting to me when we look at and we start dissecting these things based off of what we get from the news media. It's like, well, what is the police officer actually thinking? What was going through his mind at the moment when he had to use deadly force in that instance? And to go along with that is like we've seen these different responses by the people that encounter the police. Some are, they're more aggressive, I guess, towards the police officer, and then you have the contrast of those people that you would naturally say are doing everything that you would do in a situation that you get stopped. So this will be a great conversation for us to get some insight from the other side, someone who's out there day in and day out, protecting the community and really sacrificing themselves and oftentimes putting themselves in the line of danger to do their job. So I'm just excited about this opportunity and actually thankful to have an officer come on and talk to us and shed some light on what's going on.
So, Jared, before we get into the police side of things, can you do me a favor and take your police hat off? And just from an African-American male perspective, when you see these stories, when you hear about the Mike Browns, when you hear about the Dubose, and then you see the video footage of these individuals, what are your thoughts and views?
Man, basically, all these incidents are just tragic when it comes from the African American standpoint or an officer standpoint. There's no really easy way to talk about it from either side. But a lot of the instances, a lot of the lethal force is coming from a failure to comply. As a young black male, if we could just put the pride aside and just, listen to other people about their circumstances and how they've grown up and things like that, it would be a lot easier for us when it comes to handling authority figures. I think a lot of young black men don't have that role model sometimes, that male role model when it comes to growing up. And it really does, it hurts really bad. Because when you have another man trying to tell you what to do, you feel like you don't have to listen. So I think that's where a lot of it is coming from.
So when you see or hear about a Sam Dubose kind of in a car, and then the officer really, kind of almost tries to force his way into the vehicle as before we even get into the police side of it. Do you sympathize? Are you able to sympathize with in that situation with the African American with Sam Dubose that got killed? Or I'm just trying to get your perspective before we even get into the Jared as Officer Jared.
Yeah, I can easily sympathize with the victims of these crimes, and to be honest, with a lot of the incidents that have been happening lately have been crimes. They're not occurrences or anything like that. They're crimes committed against these young men. Mm-hmm. So I can easily sympathize and empathize with them.
Okay, so let's get into the police side of things. I kind of wanted to start off with Jared. You just giving us some background as to how many years you've been on the Homewood police staff and as an officer, and how long have you been in the criminal justice system?
A total of 4 years now. I've been with them for 4 years, been in patrol the entire time, looking to climb the ladder. But being a police officer wasn't my main goal in life growing up. I've got a degree in biology and computer science, and this is basically what the Lord had pretty much told me to do after going through a lot of odd jobs and different career paths. I finally stopped and prayed, and this is what the Lord told me to do, so I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
You've been a patrol officer for the past 4 years. Do you have someone that patrols with you? Do you have a canine dog that patrols with you? What's a day in the life for you as a police officer?
I patrol by myself, and no day is going to be the same. One day you can go from call to call, handling domestic violence. You can have a bomb threat the next day, a murder the next, or you can sit in a parking lot all day doing nothing, playing on your phone. It is really when you wake up, you never know what you're going to run into. You never know if you'll actually make it home to that night or not.
From an academy perspective, how long is your process as going through a police academy? And if you can kind of briefly talk about some of the things that you learned from the police academy, going through the police academy.
Police academy is 6 months. You pretty much, once you get hired, you'll go to the department for a couple of weeks and get everything situated, get all your paperwork, and then you go to the academy. Things you learn in the academy, they prepare you for pretty well for things that you'll run into on the street, but there's no way they can teach you everything in that short period of time that you can run into in a lifetime of police work. From different situations on traffic stops, different situations on domestic violence cases. There's so much that they can't teach you, but they do a very good job of giving you the basis of what to do and how to handle certain things.
I guess piggybacking off of the question about the academy, based off of kind of how we started the show with this increase in these fatal incidences, and have you in talking to, I guess, your peers and people that might have been coming into the department after you, has there been any changes or any modifications or any new initiatives that are taking place in the training aspect from the police side to reduce these occurrences?
Not that I'm aware of. I know that they are taking all these instances into consideration with, new laws, new teachings, and everything like that for the academy.
Right.
But there's not. As far as I know, there hasn't been too much change on anything. But things can change day to day.
Right.
So it's right now I can't say yes.
Okay.
What about as far as body cameras? What are your thoughts? Are you guys looking at getting body cameras? And then secondly, what are your thoughts on body cameras?
I have heard that we are thinking about getting them. My thoughts on them, I think they're a great idea. A lot of officers are against them, solely because they don't want the camera to be on all day, every day. That's with us, going home, our homes will be on camera. Us going to the restroom will be on camera. There's certain situations to where you don't want the camera on, but I don't have an issue with having a body camera.
If I get pulled over by a police officer, how should I respond, and what is the proper etiquette for me to respond if I'm pulled over by a police officer?
Basically, when you get pulled over, don't do a lot of reaching around the car. Don't try to be rude. Don't try to get smart with them, because that gives them reasons to think that something could possibly be going on. If you're reaching around the car, that gives us a reason to get you out of the car. So basically, if you get pulled over, wait till it gets there. And this basically just do as you're asked. If you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about.
Because a lot of the times I've even been pulled over, and I've gotten pulled over by a police officer, state trooper in Page County. I felt like his approach towards me was irate. I felt like it was unwarranted. But I basically followed his instructions. But how do we handle, or what is our right as a citizen if we're being handled by a police officer incorrectly?
Keep your composure, stay calm, and at the end of everything, get their name, badge number, and you can always file in the complaint. Always make a paper trail. If you're not going to do that, there's really no point of even getting upset about it.
So
You have to go through the whole process. You don't have to, talk to the supervisors, explain what happened, and just follow the whole process of going up the paper trail.
what you're suggesting is that if we are pulled over, number one, always maintain your composure, but at the end of the citation, I do have the right to get his name, his badge number, and follow the proper procedure of filing a complaint.
Yeah, you have that legal right, and but the way things work with us, their badge number and name should be on the citation that you receive.
Okay. So we should be making sure that we have that information, that we have an incident. Jared, is there a line that an officer should not cross in their interaction? Is there like a limit or a cutoff on the things that an officer can do when they approach your vehicle or stop you without there being anything obvious that they need to, go further and investigate? But if it's just a simple stop and I'm not reaching around, as you say, is there like a cutoff point to what a policeman couldn't do in that instance?
Yeah, there is. There are legal guidelines and restrictions of what an officer can do with a traffic stop, with entering the vehicle and things like that.
Well, let's talk about those because what concerns me, and I think the point that BG was kind of getting to, was really around the Sandra, what's her name, Sandra Bland, and then also with the Dubose. With the Sandra Bland incident, for example, when the police officer was frustrated that she wouldn't put out a cigarette, he essentially asked her to get out of her vehicle. And then the second incident with the Dubose, they essentially, the police officer essentially almost tried to jump into his vehicle. What are our rights as individuals or as citizens for having to get out the vehicle? If a police officer asks us to get out the vehicle, I've always been told not to get out the vehicle. Do we have that right?
You do have that right.
How should we respond then?
The main thing about that is what's the probable cause to get out of the vehicle. But because I say so, that's not a probable cause.
So how do we respond? If he asks us to get out the vehicle, then at that point I feel like things could escalate. Mm-hmm. And I want to prevent. You seem like you're a little bit more reasonable. This is why I kind of want to get back to the academy kind of question here later, because I feel like you're a little bit more restrained. You're a little bit more composed, which was a word you used earlier. How do we, if I'm asked to get out of the vehicle, and I don't want to get out of the vehicle because I feel for my safety, mm-hmm. What is my response to that police officer?
You can ask them, why let him get out of the vehicle, or you can ask him what's the probable cause of asking him to step out of the vehicle.
And then at that point, when he gives me a probable cause, do I not have a right, or are we able to get a supervisor to join us so that nothing escalates at that point?
Yes. Yeah, you can easily ask for a supervisor. You can easily ask the supervisor. You can always record. There's nothing against having your cell phone recording. There's always little things like that can be done.
What is your recommendation that we do? My biggest problem is when I see the Sandra Bland or the Dubose, and I see the police officers essentially being forceful. At that point, it kind of concerns me because I don't even know if I have enough time to request the supervisor to even show up.
The officer should stay calm. There's no guarantee of that, and there's no guarantee how somebody's going to react to being asked to step out of the vehicle. But the best thing to do is, again, like I said, ask, what's the probable cause, why are you asking me to step out, and and ask for supervisor if you do not feel safe.
I think this highlights, where we get into this funny space where you got thousands and thousands and thousands of policemen that do it the right way, that will give you an opportunity. They know the law fully, and they're calm enough to understand all of these steps that we're talking about. But it's just that small percentage of guys that by you doing those things, they take it the wrong way, and then we can't control how they react to it. And so it's a real tricky space, because people are in so many different places and in different mind frames in this whole thing.
Right, that's my concern, because you have so many. When you're dealing with police officers, essentially you're dealing with human beings. You're dealing with people, and you never know what that person's situation is for that day. You never know what that person's feeling on that particular day, which is why I kind of wanted to go back to the academy and what's taught at the academy, because I feel like, Jared, with you being Officer Simpson, with you being a police officer that has a lot of composure, is that something that's taught at the academy, or is that just your personality?
I wouldn't say they teach it, but they do mention. They mention being able to hold your composure and being able to put your pride aside when somebody is disrespectful or calls your name or is, spitting in your face or cursing at you. But they don't have a course on that. My demeanor is basically just the way I was born. I've always been the laid back type. It's really not too much that's going to be able to just, make me personally just snap to where I'm trying to rip somebody's head off. Mm-hmm. All right. Go into that measure if you understand what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Just in the academy, they don't teach you anything like that. They mention it, but I don't think something like that can't be taught.
Baltimore was a really big situation with the Freddie Gray, and essentially from him being locked up to the point that he got, when he was actually made it to the jail, he was basically dead. And then the prosecutor is basically prosecuting, I believe it's 6 police officers.
I said 6 to 9, I believe it is.
Yeah, and then you have the police officers that aren't quote unquote snitching or that kind of thing. What's the fraternity like within the police officer ranks?
Honestly, I like to compare that to a sports team, football team. It's similar to a football team, the camaraderie you have in a football team. There's your loyalty. You have your loyal officers, and you have your unloyal, the ones that are just going to look out specifically for themselves. And then you'll have the ones that will do the right thing, they'll go by the book, and you can have some that are just kind of just out there doing their own thing.
When you have a police officer that may be new, and he's not responding appropriately, how do you, is there a protocol to kind of to bring him amongst supervisors such that he's given the appropriate training or he's dealt with the appropriate way? Because I'm sure within you guys' circle, there may be officers that may not be as efficient as, say, Officer Simpson.
Yeah, with that, there are protocols the way to go through with correcting improper behavior. With you'll start with their field training officer. You go to them, tell them, hey, he's doing this, he's doing that. You need to talk to him. If that doesn't work, you go to the shift supervisor. You talk to them. You just keep going up that ladder. So there are guidelines and protocols to having an officer that might be doing things incorrectly. and it's putting not only himself but other officers and the public in danger.
Y'all do have those conversations?
Yeah, I'm a field training officer, so if one of my guys that I've been training is doing something wrong, I won't hesitate to sit them down and talk to them.
I've always been curious to know, like, when you pull someone over, you making a traffic stop, like, what is your thought process? What's going through your mind as you prepare to get out of the car and address the individual that's driving the vehicle?
Don't get killed.
Right.
Because you never know who you're approaching. You could be approaching, a house mom with 6 kids in the car. You could be approaching somebody that has a gun that's waiting for you to get close enough so they can shoot you. So that's the first thought process. And then you go by steps. For me, I tell them, good morning, good afternoon, inform them why they got pulled over, ask them for the information. And as I'm talking to them, I'm watching their behaviors, watching hands, it's a lot of different things that you have to watch for. Not only do you have to watch for that, you have to watch for cars passing by. Because there have been instances when officers have been killed by cars passing by. Car gets too close. Car intentionally hits the officer because they don't like the police. So there's so much going on to where your mind is going from one thing to another.
And I guess that makes sense. That really ain't the time for me as a driver to be doing a whole lot of suspicious stuff. And when you look at some of these instances, not to take away from them, but there are some things that took place in those vehicles that could automatically heighten the situation and heighten the intensity of the interaction. Just different stuff in the vehicle and different movements and all that type of stuff. So, that really ain't the time for you to come off as being, having something up your sleeve or being too nervous or anything like that.
I think you would agree that there's a disconnect between the community and the police officer, specifically the African-American community. And even when you and I were talking a few days ago, I kind of brought up this whole idea of at what age, because I can remember at the age of 6, 7, and 8, where I wanted to be a police officer. I thought the police officer was my friend, was someone that looked out for me. But then there were incidents in my latter years, teenage, late teenage to young adult, where my experience with the police totally changed my opinion of the police officer. And so I guess I have 2 questions. Number one, how can we mend the community and the police officer, in your opinion? And then number 2, how can I break that gap to where in an older age I see the police officer as someone that's there to help?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of different programs that can be initiated, and sometimes it's up to the officer that that drives to the neighborhood. Stop, say hey to somebody. I know with me personally, when I'm riding through my neighborhoods, I'll see somebody, I'll get out and talk to them. That way they know who I am. They know when they see me that I'm not just out there trying to cause trouble. Mm-hmm. I think with that, knowing the officer that's in your neighborhood, knowing the community that the officer is in, it will bridge a lot of issues that are being had.
So, like in the academy, are they telling y'all to when you're patrolling the community, to get out and speak to the residents, get to know them, say hi? Are they preaching that in the academies?
No, that's one thing I can definitely say that they did not mention at all when I was in the academy. Mm-hmm. That could be something they could be doing now. Like I said, it's been 4 years since I've been in the academy, so they change yearly. So that everyone's that they should be teaching in the academy is community, what they call community policing. Getting out in your community, talking to the residents. There's little things like that. There are other programs that they could do. Like, I know with us, we have almost like a monthly thing to where we'll have a group of officers go to a coffee shop. Public can come in, talk to them, get to know them. But when they do it, there aren't any young black men showing up to talk to them. Uh-huh. There aren't really any African Americans, period, come and talk.
Are you guys going to the school?
Yes, we have officers that go to the school. They go to football games, everything like that.
You said school. I can remember when we were in elementary school, we used to have one of our officers, Lieutenant Morgan, who would come every year, and he would give his talk about the police. They used to have it going alongside with like the crime dog and the DARE program, the against the drugs and all that type of stuff. So that was every year we had a presence, and you would always be looking for him when you be in the street. If you see a police car, you'd be looking at there to see if it was Lieutenant Morgan. So I can say that when we were kids, they had some type of outreach program. Now, whether that outreach program was to scare us straight or to really make us feel comfortable about the police, I don't know. But there was a presence when we were kids in our elementary school.
Yeah, I think we need to do more of those kind of things, BG. I think the Selma Project would be a good place to if that's not happening today in elementary schools. I think we need to do more of that in with the Selma Project. Officer Simpson, another question: are you training the people that you train? Are you teaching them the community policing concept?
Yes, I definitely teach them. We'll get out in the apartment complex and walk. We'll leave our car and we'll walk around. We see somebody, we'll get out and talk to them. Mm-hmm. It's totally up to that person if they want to talk to us or not. A lot of people just walk away.
Mm-hmm. They keep it moving. They keep it moving.
They walk the other way. They get in their cars and drive off.
Get on out of there.
Good. They think that you come in to harass them. I don't want to keep him too much longer, BG. Any other thing you want to ask?
I'll just like ask Officer Simpson, what is it that keeps you going in the face of the danger and the unknown things that you face every minute that you own? Like what is it that keeps you going?
It's a lot of love for my family. A lot of love for my family. Like I said, this is what the Lord has asked me. He's told me to give me the skill set. He's given me everything to do this job. So that's what keeps me going. I wake up knowing that He's going to protect me every day. I leave the house knowing that I have a beautiful fiance to come back to. So it's those things that I get out there that I have to protect. It could be I put 4 or 5 people in jail, or it could be I sit somebody down and talk to them. It could be just one or the other, something in between. But as long as you can make a difference out there, that's what's going to really keep you going during the day. Mm-hmm. How can I make a difference? How can I touch somebody to where my energy makes them try to move somebody else and they're changing their ways?
Are you able to go to the schools and talk to the young people? I think you're the perfect type of police officer that really America needs to mimic. And I say that because you are the African American male that a lot of people feel are being targeted, but you're the police officer. And you understand what the African American male may be experiencing, but on the flip side, you're the guy that's going in and you're practicing the community outreach or the community policing. Are you able to go? I think you're the number one. I think you're doing an outstanding job, and I think that you really your story needs to be told. Told more so on the side of hey, this is what we're doing and this is why it works, and really be used as a training guide for a lot of police officers that don't know what the hell they doing, to be quite honest with you. But I said all that to say, do you go to the elementary schools and let the young black men, 9 and 10-year-olds get a chance to see your face and understand that not all police officers are the ones that are being shown on CNN?
I will do it from time to time. It's not something that I regularly do. That's a position they like to give to the older officers that have been in the department for a while. Mm-hmm. And to me, just kind of want to break from being on the street patrolling. They just kind of take them over there, and they really don't do the things that are needed. They just try to be that that force walking around instead of being, that friendly cop that people are used to from their childhood.
Right. I think that'll be good. And also going to like a little league football practice or game and letting the young people see your face is another kind of idea that will really, I think, go milestone.
I just, commend Officer Simpson for the work that he's doing, and I just pray that he keep doing the good work and staying true to the purpose, because like he said, he's in a position to positively impact people's lives, whether it be taking people to jail. Even those situations are sometimes needed to get people's attention and things like that. So I just hope that he would just stay on that course and fulfill the purpose the way that he's seen it to be. And I think that he is a great example for us as civilians and looking at police officers, and as well as for his peers. So I just commend him and hope him the best in everything that he does.
We'll release this podcast this week, Officer Simpson, but I really feel like, given the quality of the podcast and really given who you are and what you stand for, I honestly think we would do this more justice if we had you on the show again. And the reason why is because you said something earlier where you kind of spoke about you prayed and you asked the Lord, what you should be doing, and basically policing was revealed. And I'll close with this. I think that is not a coincidence, because when you look at the climate and you look at just the current situation that's happening, you being able to speak on policing and being in that, I guess, that kind of that range that people feel like the Black Lives Matter folks feel like are the target. I think your story and what you're doing is bigger than this current situation. So I definitely would like to have you back on the show to talk more about your personal journey and really kind of revisit when you said that you prayed about what your calling should be. I think that'll be pretty interesting.
I'm ready. Just let me know, and I'll be here.
Officer Simpson, thank you for joining us. BG, you want to take us out real fast?
I will do it. Check us out sometime. Podcasts and blogs, freelunchpodcast.com. Also, check for us on Twitter. Let us know what you think, FreelunchPodC. We also got Instagram going, Free Lunch Podcast. And be sure to look for us on YouTube on the new channel, Free Lunch TV. Subscribe to us on iTunes and SoundCloud. Keep listening. Tell your friends about it.
And this show is also being brought to you by the Thomas Allen Collection. Thomas Allen Collection, where they have some of the most designer ties, and they have some of the best bow ties in the world. Officer Simpson, I know you like to dress up and you like to clean up. I've seen some of your pictures that are posted for you and your fiance on date night. So definitely go check out Thomas Allen Collection and get you one of those nice ties. I wear them. BG wears them. And you can find them at thomasallencollection.com. So that's all we got. This is the Free Lunch Podcast. And we are out of here. Free Lunch Podcast. No game, no gimmicks. Peace.
Let's go, let's get it. Let's go, let it go now. Let it go, let's get it. Get it, got 'em. Let's go, let's get it. Let's go, let it go now. Let it go, let's get it. Super mathematics, not a problem, no lock for that old block. So sign away for that gold rock. Super small, handcrafted art designs, no they know not. Flow tougher than tough time. Blacker than the gram, they drum line. No overdose, I'm overwoke. I'll be away for crunch time. Be everywhere like sunshine. I leave right cross. Punchline, I beat the track, I eat the track. Brown paper breakfast, lunchtime, dinner date, dessert tray. Ramadan, flow hungry, you see the sign between the line. It's G's only. No dummies, I flow lovely. They go nutty, they catch a feeling. These hoes touch. Yeah, I tell that jump off, no bunch. No awakening, post study. But you're so pretty. Bless your soul. Sometimes the best way to touch him. Stand and go. Let's go, let's get it. Let's go, let it go now. Let it go, let's get it. Get it, got 'em. Let's go, let's get it. Let's go, let it go now. Let it go, let's get it. Ha. Mathematics, before I chose the path chose me. This a Lord's plan, divine decree.